Welcome to Eating with Dagmar. So today, a rare event, I am going to make goulash a la Dagmar. So I could feel my ancestors. Um, and a couple of things, and this is just so fast. It's one of the best, quickest meals you could have. It takes about maybe 10 minutes to prepare what you put into the crock pot. It's going to be a crock pot. And then you leave it in the crock pot for about 8 hours or overnight. I'm going to do this, turn it on. It's almost evening here. And then I'll have it for breakfast. So, first thing, when you get a crock pot, if you already have one, fine. But if you don't have one, just go to Salvation Army or one of those places and you get one for $5-10. And those are the best ones, like this one, for example. They just have a simple knob on them, and they also have a glass cover. I mean, what else do you want? I mean, this is just like the simplest, cleanest crock pot. No, digital stuff. I don't know if you know, I don't like digital stuff. I actually like, and I don't like cars. Horse and buggy is my way. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a crock pot, get one from one of those secondhand stores. What else was I going to say about? Yeah, I rarely cook meat, but I thought, yeah, I don't know, just felt like doing it. I got a beef shank, which has the bone in it with the marrow, which is full of minerals. And as I always say, we are living in the era of the demineralization of man and woman kind. So any place that we can get some good minerals, I'm all for it. So this will also make the goulash very rich. So instead of using an onion, I'm thinking, instead of onions, I'm going to put scallions in this one. And it's a very simple recipe. And yes, just eyeball it, whatever you want. I'm putting this much scallions in there for this much meat and this many carrots. And just for the heck of it, I'm putting in one of those purple sweet potatoes. Because as we know, salty, sweet, sour, and fatty. So this meal, it will not have any sour in it. It'll just be salty, sweet, and fatty. This is the sweet, this is the sweet, and then of course we have the spicy from this. And the number one spice and the number one key, if you do cook meat, I think it's much better to eat it raw, but if you do cook it once in a while, ginger, fresh, raw ginger, you grate it into it. You can grate it into beef, into lamb, into chicken, anything. First of all, it gives it a sweetness, but the enzymes in fresh ginger also basically like pre-digest the protein. So some people who have trouble digesting protein or always need digestive enzymes may not need them if they are putting a lot of ginger into their meat. Generally, I don't eat any kind of strong spices, but if I do cook meat, I will put ginger. And so did my grandmother. That was the secret to the goulash. Lots and lots of ginger and paprika, which I just realized I don't have. So, but it's not a true goulash. This is a goulash a la Dagmar. So it's okay. I can do whatever I want. So one of the tricks that I learned from a friend of mine, India, she's not a chef, she's a singer, but she taught me that to peel ginger, you use a spoon. And I'm sure probably everybody out there knows it except me. But when you use a knife, you lose a lot of the ginger, and it also sprays into your eyes. And with a spoon, because it's rounded, it somehow keeps the ginger juice from spraying in your eyeballs. And I'm sure it's not totally bad for you. Be a good way to detoxify your eyeballs. drop of ginger juice in there. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Please consult your physician before following any of the things that I'm doing. And also, please do recognize when I am being sarcastic or satirical. Yeah, that's my disclaimer. So, basically, I don't want to keep overuse that word, but that's what happens when you're doing things with your hands. By the way, when you do small, like what I'm doing right now, small activities with your fingers, like crocheting, knitting, gardening, what else? What other activities do you do? Or making jewelry, or well, there's some activities I could think of, but I'm gonna keep this PG today for a change. What happens when you're doing things like this with your fingers? It builds oxytocin, which is the bonding feel-good hormone. So that's why some people, or playing the piano, let's say, or the flute, I guess, or the violin, you know, you're doing a lot of finger work, or the guitar. So cleaned my ginger, and now the trick to making this delicious, you know, it's funny how I always have all these mini things, because I guess the kitchen is mini and everything in here is pretty mini, but this is my cutting board. So I'm just gonna, I'm going to cut up, first I'm going to cut up the carrots, and I like to put them on the bottom of the crock pot, and then I'll put the meat on top. And one of the tricks to my goulash, or any kind of crock pot stuff that I make, is to never add any water. Only allow the meat to stew in its own juices. Same for the vegetables. Allow the only water that's going to be in this meal, carrot on the floor, is oops, the 3-second rule doesn't apply. I think it was longer than 3 seconds, so I have to wash it. What was I saying? Right, so the only juice that will be in this goulash is from the vegetables and the meat. It will stew in itself. Stew in its own juices, just like we do sometimes when we don't speak the truth. We end up stewing in our own juices. And you don't necessarily have to tell other people the truth. The most important thing is to tell yourself the truth, because lying to yourself can really be bad for your health. Now I'm going to cut the scallions, and something about when you slow cook things in a crock pot, it just, everything becomes so truly delicious in a very different way than raw food is delicious. This is kind of like, this is going to take me back to Grandma's kitchen, back in the old country. And truthfully, if you think about, you look at your grandparents, they, maybe even if they're still alive, maybe at the age of 80 or 75 or whatever, they may be even more healthier than some people who are 25, because at least when they were still young, they were eating food that wasn't genetically modified. They weren't afraid of, they didn't go for the cholesterol myth. They ate plenty of lard and meat and fats. And if they were poor, that means that they didn't have a whole bunch of sugar. It wasn't until things like Crisco came in and these fake oils that started to destroy people's health. It's the saturated fats, like the animal fats, the butters, the eggs, the milks. Those are the ones that our body knows what to do with. And yeah, so there. And I think I'm going to peel this purple potato a little bit. I'm going to leave some of the peel on. If the peel was perfect looking, I would leave it all on, but some of it looks a little ragged. So I'm going to take some of it off. And I mean, you can really be creative. You can put some, oh, if I had a red pepper, I would put it in there because that would add just a little bit of sour to it. But I don't, so I will work with what I got. And I will put the purple potato in. And now oh good, you can see it. So slice it any way you like, cubes, thin, whatever. This is your creation. And now I'm going to stick my hands in there and mix it all. Again, I get to put my hands in food. Yay! How much fun can a girl have? Okay, now I need a grater. Where's my grater? Here. And I'm going to grate this ginger in here. Let's see, how long has this taken me so far? Okay, but if I wasn't talking, I would be way ahead of the game. So far, it's 12 minutes right now. So if you're just focused on doing, now you can put, you can even put chunks of ginger in here. Come to think of it, I can do that. Yeah, let me do that. I'll grate half of it and then I'll cut the rest of it. And then at the end, when it's all done, you can remove, you can fish out the ginger and remove it. But the ginger is le grand secret. Okay. I think, and you know what? I never use garlic, but I'm thinking this might not be a bad idea. Let me put the meat in it. Now this meat I got at a local farm, and oh, it's double bagged. And this meat has not been jibby-jabbed like some of the people in the world are right now. These and most grass-fed meats nowadays, you should know, are injected not just with hormones and antibiotics, but with, you know, the thing for all kinds of diseases that have been made up. So this is wow, this is quite a piece of meat. I'm just going to put it in whole like that. Just lay her down into the crock pot. And I think I need more. Okay, now salt. Oh yes, and I am going to do garlic. I'm going to live it up. Personally, it's so rare that I eat garlic because, as I always mention, I mean, garlic goes through the blood-brain barrier. And back in the old days when pilots didn't have all that flying, you know, airplane pilots didn't have all that auto stuff working for them, they were not allowed to eat any Italian food or any food that had garlic in it because it slowed down their reflexes enough to the point where they might crash the airplane. So that tells you something, right? And another thing also, if you do eat a lot of garlic and people can smell it off of you, all that means is that your body is trying to get rid of it. basically a lot of plants, you think they're good for you, but they're really toxic. So I'm going to put some of this toxic garlic in here because I want to have the smells of childhood. I'm just dropping stuff today. I picked it up before 3 seconds so I can put it in. It's going to cook anyway. So, yeah, as I was saying, most, even, grass-fed, organic chicken and beef, and I didn't research lamb, but I know chicken and beef, they get the thing that starts with the letter V, and lots of them, not just not just the calves, but throughout their lives. It's a big deal. But when you have a small farm, it's a very different situation. And of course, if it's an Amish farm, then you have a much better chance of there being nothing bad in your meat. Okay, so I got everything in there. I got the carrots, the sweet potato, ginger. How it's already starting. Oh, did I just get garlic in my hair? Yep, I think I did. Oh well. It's better than the other video where I had cottage cheese on my forehead while I was making this. So, hey. Okay. I think I want to put a little bit more ginger because it just, you'll see, if you've never used fresh ginger while making any kind of meat, you'll be like, oh my God, why have I not done this before? It really integrates quite beautifully into the meat. And sweetness, it adds that kind of gingery sweetness and spice, so it gives it a bit of a kick, and it has so many digestive enzymes. So I'm just going to cut this one into little pieces, which maybe then when it's ready I might fish out, but maybe not, and then I don't mind biting into a piece of ginger. And now all we're missing is the salt. So I will put the salt in. And of course, I never use Himalayan salt. I always use sea salt, Celtic sea salt, or this one is called fleur de sel. Because to me salt has so many minerals in it, so I don't skimp on salt. It's what makes the meat amazing. So I'm putting in maybe 1.5 or maybe 2 teaspoons is what I put in. So I think that's all. So here it is, just like this, all ready and ready to go, and I will simply cover it, turn it on low. I always cook on low. And that keeps it more intact, all the juices and the flavors. So this is how you make goulash a la Dagmar. And maybe on one of the videos that I do tomorrow, I'll show the grand finale. Okay, so have a beautiful rest of the day or night or life. Have a great rest of your life if I never see you again, and until I decide to make another video. All right, bye.